everyone, and welcome to our storytime adventure. Today, we're heading deep into a vast, sun-kissed desert, a land of endless golden dunes and sparkling skies. This is where our story begins, with two best friends named Leo and Mia. They loved the desert more than anything. It was their giant sandbox, their personal playground. With them, always, was their furry little companion, Finn, a fennec fox, with ears so big they could probably hear a whisper from a mile away. One bright morning, as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, Leo, Mia, and Finn were doing what they did best. They were chasing a tumbleweed that danced and bounced across the sand. Finn, with his quick little paws, pounced on it, sending a puff of sand into the air. And that's when Mia saw it. Sticking out from beneath the sand, where the tumbleweed had been, was the corner of something old and leathery. Curiosity sparked in their eyes. Together, they carefully dug around the object. It wasn't a rock or a root. It was a piece of rolled-up parchment, brittled with age, and tied with a faded red string. With trembling fingers, Leo untied the knot, while Mia held her breath. They unrolled it gently. On the parchment were faded lines, strange symbols, and a big, bold X marked on a spot they didn't recognize. It was a map, a real-life treasure map. "A treasure," Leo whispered, his eyes wide with excitement. Mia clapped her hands, her heart thumping like a drum. Finn tilted his head, his big ears twitching, as if he understood every word. They imagined chests overflowing with shiny gold coins, sparkling jewels, and ancient artifacts. Without a second thought, their adventure was decided. They would follow the map and find the hidden treasure of the desert. Their journey began immediately. The map seemed to point them toward a cluster of tall, rocky mesas in the distance. The sun was warm on their backs, and the sand was soft beneath their feet. As they walked, they noticed they weren't alone. A tiny desert mouse scurried past, and a lizard did a little push-up on a nearby rock, as if cheering them on. Their first real encounter was with a wise old tortoise named Sheldon. He was slowly munching on a desert flower, his wrinkled eyes holding the wisdom of 100 years. Leo showed him the map. Sheldon squinted at it, then slowly pointed his head toward a narrow canyon they hadn't noticed before. "The whispers of the wind travel best through the canyons," he said in a slow, deep voice. "Listen carefully, and it will guide you." They thanked Sheldon and headed into the canyon, listening to the soft whistle of the wind as it echoed off the rock walls. Following the canyon led them to an open plain dotted with burrows. Suddenly, little heads popped up from the sand everywhere. It was a family of meerkats, standing tall on their hind legs, their noses twitching. They were a curious and friendly bunch. Mia, who loved animals, giggled as a baby meerkat sniffed her shoe. She showed their leader the map. The meerkats chattered excitedly and pointed them toward a giant, lone cactus shaped like a hand. They spent a little while playing a fun game of peekaboo with the meerkat family before waving goodbye and continuing on their quest, their spirits higher than ever. Each animal they met was like a friendly guidepost. A majestic eagle soared above, circling a specific rock formation shown on their map. A family of desert hares led them through a tricky patch of thorny bushes. Leo and Maya realized this journey was more than just following a map. It was about making new friends. They shared their water with a thirsty garboa and a piece of their fruit snack with a ground squirrel. Finn, their fennec fox, was having the time of his life, joyfully playing with all the new animals they met. The desert wasn't empty at all. It was full of life and friendship. As the afternoon sun began to dip lower, painting the sky with fiery colors, the air started to change. A gentle breeze grew into a strong wind, and the sky began to darken with an ominous yellow haze. A sandstorm. The wise old tortoise had warned them about the desert's sudden temper. The wind howled, whipping sand into the air until they could barely see their own hands in front of their faces. "Mia," Leo shouted, but his voice was swallowed by the storm. "Leo, where are you?" Mia cried out, her voice trembling. A powerful gust of wind pushed them apart. In an instant, they were separated, lost in the swirling, sandy chaos. Finn huddled close to Leo, whimpering. Mia pulled her scarf over her face, feeling scared and alone. The treasure didn't matter anymore. All they wanted was to find each other. Just when fear began to creep in, Leo remembered Sheldon's words. Listen carefully. He quieted his breathing and listened. Through the roar of the wind, he heard a faint, familiar chattering sound. The meerkat out, and the chattering grew louder. A little meerkat appeared through the haze, tugging on his pant leg, urging him to follow. Meanwhile, Mia saw a dark shape moving slowly toward her. It was Sheldon, the tortoise. He had tucked himself into a shell for protection, but had come looking for them. Stay close, he rumbled. The storm will pass. A moment later, a great eagle swooped down from above the worst of the swirling sand, letting out a sharp cry. Finn heard it and yipped back, a beacon in the storm. The meerkat led Leo toward the sound, while the eagle's calls guided Sheldon and Mia. Guided by their animal friends, they were slowly brought together. Leo saw Mia's silhouette next to the giant tortoise, and he ran toward her. They hugged tightly, relief washing over them. I was so scared, Mia said. Me too, Leo admitted, but our friends helped us. They weren't just two kids and a fox anymore. They were a team. A whole desert family. They huddled together behind a large rock, with all their animal friends gathered around them, and waited for the storm to pass. When the wind finally died down and the sand settled, the world looked new and clean. The air was fresh, and the sky was a clear, brilliant blue. The sand dunes had been reshaped into new, beautiful curves. And right in front of them, revealed by the storm, was a place that wasn't on any map. The X on their parchment hadn't marked a spot for a treasure chest. It marked the entrance to a hidden canyon. They walked into it, and their jaws dropped. Before them lay a secret oasis. A crystal-clear pool of water shimmered, surrounded by lush green palm trees and vibrant wildflowers of every color imaginable. Waterfalls cascaded down the rocks, and birds with bright feathers sang sweet melodies. It was a paradise. All their animal friends, the meerkats, the tortoise, the hares, even the eagle perched on a high ledge had followed them. They watched as the animals drank from the cool water and rested in the shade. The baby meerkat splashed happily in a shallow puddle. Finn chased a butterfly through the flowers. This wasn't a treasure for people. It was a treasure for the desert's inhabitants. It was their safe haven, their home. Leo and Mia sat by the edge of the water, watching the beautiful scene unfold. They looked at the tattered map, then at each other, and smiled. They hadn't found gold or jewels. They had found something so much better. They had found friendship, courage, and a secret, beautiful world. They realized the adventure itself, the friends they made, and the journey they shared, that was the real treasure. And it was a treasure they would keep in their hearts forever. Thank you so much for joining us on this desert adventure. If you loved this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing tailies. We'll see you next time.